Shohei, when you first got hurt, how bad did you think it was? Did you think your season might be over? And then at what point were you confident that you could play in this game?
最初怪我した時に痛めた時にちょっと深刻だったのかと、もしかしてシーズンが終わる怪我って思ってましたかと。And what was the second question?
And at what point were you comfortable that or confident that you could play?
それといつ、はい、そうではないと。
やった時はちょっと分かんなかった、どうなってるのかよく分かんなかったので、裏に行ってからかなっていう感じですね。最初はセーフかどうなのかっていうところをまず確認してベースから離れられなかったので、その後にっていう感じですかね。はい、今は痛みもだんだん引いてきてるので、はい自分のスイングが戻ってきてるのかなと思ってます。
Initially, I wasn't really exactly sure. I was really concerned about whether I was safe or out. It was only when I went back inside where we had to figure out what it was. The pain has subsided, so I felt pretty good about it.
Go to the second row on your left, guys. Jack?
Was the shoulder impacting your swing at all? Did you feel it at all when you're at the plate tonight?
今日肩スイングに影響してましたかと。
どうなんですかね、テーピングしたりとかしてるので、いつもと違う感じはしましたけど、そこまで大きくは違わなかったかなとは思いますね。単純に、最後も1、2塁も最後はボールだったので、しっかりと見送れてればフォアボール取れてたんじゃないかなっていう打席だったなと思います。
I taped myself up today, so it did feel different from compared to when I don't tape myself. The last at bat, I felt like, if I took that ball, it would have been a walk. So I still felt like I had a pretty good at bat there.
And then what was the thing you were wearing when you came out on the field during pregame introductions? And then why were you holding your jersey when you were running the bases?
開会式の時に何をつけてたんですかと。で、なんで
塁上ですね。
握ってた。
最初は、試合中もそうでしたけども、ずっと冷やさないようにっていうのが一番大事って言われてたので、試合中もずっと、温めるような機械を、つけてイニング間は基本的には過ごしてましたし、開会式の時もセレモニーの時も、同じのをつけて、温めるようにっていう、塁では、スライディングをした時に、左手がやっぱついた同じようなモーションに入った時にやっぱりまた今の状況だと外れる、場合が多いので、それを防ぐためにっていう感じですかね。
I was told to wear a device that keeps my shoulder warm. So during the ceremony and throughout the game, I was wearing that per recommended by the trainers. And the reason why I was holding on to myself when I was running is to make sure that I wouldn't use that same shoulder arm if I were to, slide.
The second row on your far right, guys.
Was there any difficulty keeping your top hand on the bat when you were swinging?
トップの手をずっとそのスイングの最中に持つっていう仕草っていうのはやっぱちょっと難しかったですか？
基本的には逆サイドの腕の方がおそらくきつかったのかなっていう感じはするので、左肩で良かったんじゃないかなとは不幸中の幸いだったのかなとは思いますね。
If it was more of the right shoulder, then I think it would have impacted my swing. But thankfully, it was my left, so I don't think it really did.
Go to Tim in the last row on the right, guys. If we can get Tim the microphone. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead. My apologies.
Congratulations, Shohei. How does it feel being one game away from achieving what I would assume is one of the goals you've had since you learned about Major League Baseball?
ワールドシリーズ優勝っていう目標はあと1勝になりますけども、どう思いますか？
もちろん明日決めれるに越したことはないですし、そのためにみんなで、また明日あと1勝しっかりと勝てるように、明日の試合にまず集中したいなと思ってます。
It's just really focusing on winning the game tomorrow as a team and there's nothing better to be able to have the opportunity to do so.
We'll take a last question in English from Tim in the last row on your right.
Is there any chance you will need surgery for this when the season is over?
シーズン終わったら手術は必要ですか？
どうなんですか、そこまでの話は特にはしてないので、とりあえず、この、シリーズというか、今シーズンが全部終わった後にまた改めてそれなりの検査をして、いい状態なのかどうなのかっていう、今の段階では問題ないんじゃないかなと思っています。
I haven't had further conversations about the future plan. I think it's something that's going to happen after the season is over, do additional testing. But in terms of how I feel now, I don't think so.
Take some questions in Japanese. We'll start in the second row on your right. We'll get you the microphone.
よろしくお願いします。今日の動きの中でスイングで例えば空振りをした時に顔をしかめてる場面もあったんですけど、ファールにした時空振りした時、どんな動きの時に痛みを感じる、もしくはそれを気にするという状態だったんですか？
打席の中ではもうあんまり、覚えてないというか、痛い痛くないという感じは、顔にどの程度出てたかよく分かんないですけど、あんまり考えてはなかったですかね。はい、今日
大谷さんもそうですけど、フリーマンも今日自打球が当たった後に一塁へ行って、それからシングルで三塁までっていう、傍から見れば無理じゃないかという状況なんですけど、それをさらにそれを超えられる、挑める、そこで働く力っていうのを聞く、どういうものがあって無理かもしれないけどもう一個先に行けてるんですかね。
それはフレディに聞いてもらって僕はちょっと彼の状態は彼自身じゃないんでわからないですし、どうなんですかね。こういう舞台だとアドレナリンが出てある程度の痛みが耐えれるのかもしれないですし、はい。
One row behind Shohei on your right in the third row.
お疲れ様です。こういう状況、チーム、怪我人が多かった状況で、いろんな人がカバーしてきたっていうことがあって、今回その大谷選手が、そういう状況になった。チームからどんな言葉をかけられたりとか、その結束力、いろいろこの1年間あったと思うんですけど、どういうふうに自分が励まされた、どういう言葉をかけられたか教えてください。
僕自身がですか？
そうですね。
僕自身に対してっていうよりかはやっぱりチームミーティングもそうですし、チームディナーもそうですけど、みんながモチベーションを高く保てるように一人一人がそういう声掛けが多いんじゃないかなとは思うので、僕自身にというよりかはみんなで、そういうふうにやっていこうっていう、気持ちは強いんじゃないかなとは思います。
今回は何かあったんですか？その直後にそのミーティングで、ミーティングとかなんか声かける？
いや、僕は LA に残ってたので、ニューヨークでチームディナーがあったんですけど、僕は行けなかった、検査もあって行けなかったので、はい、そこの状況はちょっと分かんないですけど、僕自身は最善を尽くして今日まず出れるような状況、しっかりと結果を残せるような状況にしようとは思ってましたね。
We'll stay over there on your right. I believe right next into your left, sir. Yeah, right next to you. Yep.
お疲れ様です。試合前にマンシー選手が大谷さんがニューヨークに向かうチームメイトにテキストメッセージで出れるみたいなメッセージを送ったっていうふうに言ってたんですけども、どういう思いでそういうのを送ったんですか？
出れるという、はい、気持ちというか、実際に検査を受けて、処置をすれば出れる状況だっていうことだったので、それに対して、さっきも言いましたけど、自分のベストを尽くしますよっていうことですね。
なんかチームの不安を取り除きたいとかそういった思いもあった感じですか？
チームの士気だけはやっぱり下げたくはないですし、怪我人も、いる中、フレディもそうですけど、みんなが万全の状態で必ずしも出てるわけではないので、みんなどこかしらやっぱり痛み抱えながら出てる選手も多いと思うので、その中で自分のできることっていうのをしっかりとやれればいいんじゃないかなと思ってます。
Go to the third row on your left, Shohei.
お疲れ様です。こう痛みがだいぶ引いてきたっていうのをこう分かったんですけども、出場にこう、迷いとか、不安な面とかは特になかったんですが、それよりもやっぱ試合に出たいっていう気持ちがやっぱ強くて、今回こう出ようと決めたのか、その辺の背景を教えてください。
出れるならやっぱり出たいというか、出る準備をするのが当然の、ことではあるので、その上でチームが出てほしいというか、必要だって言ってくれるのであれば、最善の準備をして試合に臨みたいなっていう感じですかね。
I'll take one last one. The first row on your left.
すいません、先ほどもちょっと質問出ましたけど、痛みとしてはこう走る時の方が痛いのか、それともこう振った時にこう振り切った時に痛いのかという、どこが違和感を一番感じますでしょうか。
試合の中ではもう痛い痛くないっていうのはあんまり考えてないのでもう痛くないっていう気持ちでやってますし、その悪化だけはしないようにやれることっていうのは走塁の時もそうですけど、最低限のやれることっていうのは継続してやりたいなと思ってます。
昨日までの過ごし方で言えば、ちょっと寝る時とか大変なんじゃないかなと思うんですけど、例えば右を下に寝ることもあれですし、ただ左はできないですしということで、なんかそういう昨日までの過ごし方でその寝る時とかに工夫したこととかあれば。
ドクターに言われているのはなるべく固定してというか、枕を挟んで固定したりとか、寝てない時は逆に動かして、固まらないように、するのがいいとは言ってました。
Doc, that couldn't have gone any better for you guys or for Shohei, right? I mean, what was your assessment of how he was able to weather through swinging at the plate and what you saw and all of it?
I thought he did a really nice job of competing. I don't think that, it got any worse. Obviously, just him in the batter's box, starting the game off, getting on base by way of walk. And, I just really appreciate him, posting tonight.
Far back on your left, Dave, AJ.
Dave, what can you say about what Walker did tonight and really what your rotation has done all series, when I think some people on the outside considered it maybe a weakness coming into it?
Walker was fantastic. I think if you take out that second inning where we didn't play good defense behind him, he would have thrown up nothing but zeros in the postseason. Tonight, I just thought his stuff was as good as it's been all year. I thought the fastball had life. The cutter was good. The curveball was good. He pitched to all quadrants and kept those guys honest, kept them at bay. There was no stress. So just to get through 5 innings the way he threw the baseball, I felt that's all he had. Obviously, there was a little bit of kind of emotions, adrenaline, and I couldn't have asked for anything more from Walker tonight.
We'll go to the third row on your right, Dave, with Jared.
On that, I mean, given all the conversation about your rotation all postseason, I mean, how did you realistically expect that you'd be getting over 11 innings from your starters, in games 2 and 3 of the series?
Yeah, I think that certainly there was a lot said about the rotation given the injuries that we accrued coming into the postseason. But I think that we just kind of came together collectively, feeling the 13 guys on our roster as far as pitchers, we're going to do a good job of preventing runs. And so obviously it doesn't matter, how you get them. And we're doing a nice job of kind of piecing it together, though.
The second row on your left, Dave. Jack?
Obviously, Walker has the October track record and looked a little bit better at the end of the regular season, but have you been surprised with just how well these last couple starts have gone for him and what he's given you guys?
Not surprised. I think that there's certain players, Kike on the position player side, Walker on the pitcher side, that just really thrive in the postseason. And I think, guys like those two, you can essentially throw away the regular season and know that you're going to get the best of them in the postseason. So certainly the track record speaks for itself, and just the confidence when he's on the mound in the postseason. There haven't been many better.
And then how important was that sequence with Mookie's catch and then Teo's throw in the next at bat?
Yeah, the Teo throw was huge. It obviously killed the momentum. And then Mookie's play on the sinking liner from Jazz, it just kind of, I thought Walker was starting to feel it a little bit. There was starting to be a little bit more hard contact. So to make a defensive play on a sinking liner, and then that play at home plate was just huge for all of us. Yeah.
Stay in the second row.
Hey, Dave. Freddie hit a foul ball off that ankle pretty hard late in the game. Any effects of that going forward?
I don't think so. It's his ankle, and that's happened many times over. But it wasn't the foot, the toe. So I think that, it was higher up on the ankle. So I think that he's going to be fine.
Go to Peter, standing on your right, Dave.
Hi, Dave. You're one of the few people on earth who know what it's like to come back from a 3-0 deficit.
Don't talk about that. Wrong guy. Way too early.
What do you remember about your mindset going into that, and what maybe did you learn from that you can take into it now that you're on the other side?
From the other side, I don't want to divulge any secrets, but from the other side, I just think that we have got to stay focused, stay urgent. I think offensively, to be quite honest, we left a lot of runs out there tonight. Still found a way to win a ball game, and there's just got to be urgency. I just don't want to let these guys up for air.
Thank you.
Go to the third row on your left, Dylan.
Dave, we saw Ohtani, wincing a couple times after some of those swings. Did you get a sense of how much physical discomfort he was in tonight?
I don't know how much, but yeah, balls that were away that he chased a little bit. I saw a couple winces, but I think it's sort of pointless even for me to even consider it because he's going to be in there tomorrow.
We'll stay right there, Dave, on your left.
Hey, Doc. So with Freeman, with the Mets in the Mets series, it seemed like he could barely run, and now he's legging out triples, hitting homers. What is it that he's done to get to this point, and just how surprised are you that he's performing at this level?
Not surprised he's performing at this level. He's been very good in the postseason throughout his career. I think it's just the 6 days before this series was huge, or the 5 days, I think it was, that gave him a chance to kind of get out of the woods. And so now that we're out of the woods, I think it's manageable, sustainable, and even going first to third, he did a good job going first to third. I don't think we cashed that one in, but I think that he's in a really good spot. And obviously with the swings that he's taken, he can stay firm on his front side.
Far back on your left, Dave. Clinton.
Dave, Mookie came into this series as the only Dodger with an OPS above 1, and he's done everything you guys have asked of him this season in the catch, push, run across. Can you just tell me a little bit about how valuable he is from a consistency standpoint to have in a lineup like this?
He's one of the best players on the planet, and so I'm really excited for the postseason that he's had on both sides of the baseball. And that at-bat, really, that was one of the at-bats that set the tone. Tommy did a great job of reading the ball off the bat, going on contact, scoring right there. But that at bat to just kind of win pitches, get down with 2 strikes, and to keep fighting, to still drive in a run. And we did that all night. I thought that we took really good at bats, and Mookie kind of sets a tone with that. And we did a great job of getting into their pen early, seeing a lot of familiar arms, and taxing those guys too.
Second row on your right, Doc. Steve.
Congratulations. I'm not asking you to divulge secrets from the other side from way back when, but what do you tell your players? Do you tell your players, listen, I know teams can come back from a 3-0 deficit. Is there going to be a moment that you try to make clear to your team that it's not over?
No, I won't. I think that they're very familiar with 20 years ago and what can happen. I mean, anything's possible. Our guys are very heady, very hungry for a championship, a parade, and so nothing is going to get in the way of that. Nothing.
First row on your left, Dave.
I want to just confirm, is Shohei allowed from sliding?
I think he can. He would have to be careful, but ideally, no.
Thank you.
One last one for Dave. We'll finish up in the first row on your right.
Doc, do you think that you players are so hungry to win this World Series because what happened in 2020? What everybody talked about, it was a short season, and you guys got the chance to do this against the Yankees in one more game?
I think for some of the guys that were here, Kike, Clayton, the coaches, Austin Barnes, I think Blake Trinan, just some guys that were here with us, we want that parade. We never got a chance to celebrate with the city of Los Angeles. that's something of incentive. But outside of that, you have an opportunity to be a world champion, and so we're right there. So that's more than enough incentive and motivation.
Walker, that four-seamer was such a great setup pitch and such a good pitch today. What was different about that pitch?
Oh, it's kind of like it used to be a little bit or a little bit closer. Obviously, got a couple swing and miss early in the game, and that kind of resets you mentally to think that, oh, I got a good one going today or whatever. But, yeah, felt good.
Second row on your left, Jack.
When that pitch does feel good, like what is it about the characteristics of it or how you're throwing that you think makes it effective?
I think it's less about that pitch more than it just lets me get into some counts that you're protecting the other stuff, and then you can throw the bigger one with 2 strikes as opposed to with 1 strike, and just gives you a little bit more freedom.
You've talked about like the big game thing, but just to have another like strong World Series start like this, like how gratifying are these moments to you?
I've told you guys that's kind of all I care about, but it makes it makes kind of the regular season worth it for me.
Go to Russ in the fourth row on your left.
Walker, you talked about late in the season that you didn't know at the time if you had the stuff to get guys out. Seeing what you've been able to do over the last 2 starts, what do you feel like you've been able to find?
I think, as kind of brutal as this to say, like, it takes that adrenaline and that stuff to kind of really get me going kind of mentally. And, I don't know if I wish I would have felt that all year. I could tell you I'm so excited to pitch every single game I've ever gone out there, but there is something different in the playoffs. And I think, at least long term for me, like, to get through this playoffs, at least in the way that I have, like, it's really encouraging for me personally, just because I know it's in there and I just kind of got to unlock it a little bit. But that feeling of there's an organization relying on me today to win a playoff game, I think is kind of the weight that I like feeling, and kind of gets me in a certain place mentally that it's kind of hard to replicate.
Stay in the fourth row on your left, Walker.
What's the feeling being 1 game away from a World Series championship?
I'm excited to watch our guys go tomorrow and see what happens. So, I'll be ready if there's a Game 7, but my hope is that I don't have to throw anymore.
The fourth row on your right, Walker.
Hey, Walker, how you doing?
Great.
Yeah. How does it feel going into 5 shutout innings in such a crucial World Series game?
How does it feel before or after?
During.
It's great. We all listen, man. We play professional baseball for a living. When it's going good, there's not much else you'd rather do on this earth.
1 row behind.
Walker, you had some pretty good outfield defense behind you tonight. What did you see first on the Mookie play and then on the Teoscar play in that 4th inning?
Yeah, the Mookie play was interesting. He kind of, obviously, the ball is spinning a little weird and kind of stepped back for a second and then made the play. He's won a few Gold Gloves out there, so that's something we kind of expect for him. And Teo threw Stanton out at home, and I got in the dugout and I said, they don't know about you in New York. Like, you'd think they would remember what he did when we played here in the regular season. And, pretty cool for him to show off, the other side of the ball and kind of put a perfect throw and Will put the tag on. So, that was a big momentum play. I think, obviously, the first couple innings, I was kind of going pretty smooth. And for them to get a little momentum and us shut it down that way was pretty cool.
Anything else for Walker? I'll finish up in that same row.
Yeah, Walker, just with everything that you've been through injury-wise and for the team having kind of a weird World Series in 2020, did you at any moment today kind of allow yourself to think like, wow, World Series game, Yankee Stadium, sold-out crowd, like this is pretty special?
First off, what was weird in 2020 to you?
Well, just playing a World Series in like a stadium that was not, normal.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this was my 3rd World Series game, and they've kind of gone similarly. Like, there's a thing for me that whatever pride or whatever weight I feel seems to come out somehow beneficial for us. And, I think this team is just different than the teams we've had before in terms of the way that we operate in there with the 26 guys that are active that day. There's this bond that's kind of different, and, we play for each other. That play from Teo is kind of significant in terms of what I'm saying, in that, like, okay, I slipped a little, I gave up a couple hits, and we cover it. Like, I haven't been on that many teams that we cover each other the way that this team does, and I've also never been on a team that's up 3-0 in the World Series.